on with me tonight. How has your life changed since the online army came after you?
It's definitely been weird. I've had a lot of people online just sort of saying, well, this wouldn't have happened if you never did an interview. If you wouldn't have done X, Y, and Z during the interviews, then we wouldn't have been suspicious of you. But it's not like I was intentionally doing anything during the interview or like I had sought out these interviews. Every single time I've done one, it's been either the reporter or someone with the reporter asking me to do these. But people online have just been ruthless. They went through and gone through all of my social media history over the past decade, just trying to find anything and everything they can about me, pulling up Facebook posts from my mom from a decade ago saying, oh, he was a hunter back in 2012. He must have done it just because a psychic had done a reading and said that it was probably a hunter, even though almost everyone in Idaho hunts at some point. And so they've just been digging into anything and everything they can find about my personal life and trying to somehow link it back to this.
So let's clear the air for anybody who's watching tonight and maybe still even has suspicions. So some of them said he refused to give his DNA to the police. Have the police ever come in contact with you or asked you for DNA or had any requests like that?
Earlier today actually was the first time. Before this, they hadn't interviewed me other than that first day, a couple hours after the news broke that there was a killing there. But up until earlier today, I hadn't been contacted by the police. But then today, partly because of all the reports that people had sent in about me and the interview I did, as well as me going and talking with one of the local prosecutors about what I can do to clear my name, the officers came by my house today. They talked with me. They interviewed me. They didn't bring anything to collect DNA today, but they said, if we need you, will you come down to the station? I said, absolutely. And so if they give me another call or if they don't call me within a few days, I'll probably go down anyways. But
to be clear, you
problem.
reached out to the prosecutor as well. Let's be really clear about that. So it's just absolutely an abject lie that you refused to give DNA. You've spoken to them, you've offered it. They've said they'll come back and ask you for it. They certainly don't seem to think it's a big panic. And then the other question for the record, where were you when the murders occurred?
I was in my bed. I went to sleep roughly at 11:30 that night, woke up somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock the next morning. And so I was just in my house, in my bed.
So I heard in an interview at some point you gave that you said you now carry a weapon. I have two questions about that. What kind of weapon do you carry? And then second, is it because you fear the killer that's out there or fear the trolls that are coming after you?
It's a gun, it's just a handgun. And it's not really that I fear for anything. It's just I feel safer having it. I don't walk around thinking maybe the killer's going to come for me next, stab me in the back or something like that. But just having it on me gives me that extra sense of security, especially now where cyber sleuths may or may not come. They've already contacted my friends asking questions about me. And so who knows if someone's going to go so far as to try and confront me in person, even though on Reddit specifically, I've gone through and posted and answered questions that people had, but you never know if someone's going to try and come talk to me personally or come try anything in real life. So
sure,
I just feel safer having it generally.
We've seen people show up at murder scenes before who are not involved in any way in the story. I have one last question for you. I've got about 15 seconds left. Did you know the girls or had you ever been in the house?
I didn't know them and I'd never been to the house. I'd been up to the front door because I had found a lost phone last semester. So I went, knocked on the door, asked if they knew whose it was. The girl that answered said no. So I left and went to the next house. Did the same thing until I was finally able to figure out whose phone it was. That's the only time I was at that house, but I was never actually inside.
I can't thank you enough for coming on the air and clearing up a lot of these misconceptions that have been online. I'm sorry that you're going through this, Jeremy, but keep us posted on what happens. If the police do come back, give us a heads up and we'll talk about, what happens from here. Thanks for doing this tonight. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to